Welcome everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation on mastering the art of production. Today, we'll explore how to boost your productivity and optimize your workflows. We'll cover key strategies, practical tips, and techniques to help you become more efficient and effective in your production processes. Let's get started. Raw materials are the starting point in the production process. They are processed and assembled into finished products that we use every day. This transformation from raw materials to final goods is what we call production. It involves both making tangible products and providing services that meet people's needs. So, when we talk about production, we're really referring to the entire process of creating goods and delivering services that contribute to the economy. It's a fundamental part of how products move from concept to consumer, connecting the dots between resources and the final outcome. Now, let's look at some real-world examples of organizing components into finished products. First, we have airlines, which involve organizing crews and managing air travel. This is all about coordinating pilots, flight attendants, and ground staff to ensure smooth and efficient travel experiences. Next, we see airline services, which highlight how airlines assemble various elements, like aircraft, crew, and schedules, into a cohesive operation that gets passengers from one place to another. Moving on to manufacturing, assembling components into vehicles is a great example. Imagine the process of putting together a car, engine parts, body panels, electronics, all coming together in a systematic way to produce a finished vehicle. Finally, in chocolate factories, processing cocoa, milk, and sugar illustrates how raw ingredients are combined and transformed into delicious chocolate products. All these examples show how complex systems are organized into functional, finished products, whether it's a flight, a car, or a chocolate bar. This highlights the importance of coordination and process management in bringing different pieces together efficiently. So, in this slide, we're focusing on the question of how to control quality. This is crucial because no matter what we produce, maintaining high standards is key to success. Controlling quality involves implementing systems and processes that ensure our outputs meet the desired criteria consistently. It's about setting clear standards, monitoring progress, and making adjustments as needed to avoid defects or errors. Next, we look at how to choose a location. The location you select can greatly influence the quality of your product or service. Factors like accessibility, resources, labor availability, and even the local environment play a role. Choosing the right location is about aligning these factors with your quality objectives so that you can operate efficiently and maintain high standards. Then, we consider how to produce. This involves understanding the production processes and ensuring they are optimized for quality. It's about selecting the right technology, training staff properly, and establishing procedures that promote consistency and excellence. Efficient production methods help minimize waste and errors, which directly impacts quality. Finally, we ask ourselves what should be produced. Clarifying what the final product or service should be helps guide all other decisions. Defining clear specifications and quality standards ensures everyone involved understands the expectations. This clarity is fundamental to controlling quality across the entire process. Together, these four key questions, how to control quality, how to choose a location, how to produce, and what should be produced, form the backbone of a strategic approach to achieving and maintaining excellence in our operations. When we look at business orientations, it's clear that understanding what customers want is crucial. Carefully researching customer preferences before creating a product really makes a difference. When you do this, you're more likely to develop products that actually sell because they meet real needs or desires. In contrast, many companies in the past took a product-oriented approach. They focused on making products they thought would sell, without really considering what the customers wanted. This often led to products that didn't resonate with the market, and sales suffered as a result. Today, the market-oriented approach is key. It's all about putting the customer first, researching, understanding, and then designing products that truly match their preferences. This shift has made businesses more successful because they're creating what people actually want rather than guessing. So, the main takeaway here is that knowing your customer and aligning your product development accordingly is what drives success in today's competitive landscape. Let's take a look at some of the key questions involved in the production process. First, is it required? Understanding whether a certain product or process is necessary helps us prioritize and allocate resources effectively. Next, what equipment is employed? This is crucial because the machinery we choose directly impacts efficiency, quality, and cost. Knowing what tools are needed guides us in setting up the right production environment. Then, we need to consider how many people are involved, how much labor is required. This helps us plan staffing, ensure safety, and optimize workflow. Lastly, how to produce. This is about the actual steps, methods, and procedures we follow to turn raw materials into finished products. Connecting all these points is essential to designing a smooth, efficient, and scalable production system that aligns with our overall goals. Let's take a closer look at the formula for revenue here. It's simply revenue equals quantity times price. What this means is that the total money a business earns from selling goods or services depends on how many units they sell and how much they charge for each unit. This is really the core of understanding sales. The more you sell, or the higher your price, the greater your revenue. It's a straightforward formula, but it's so important because it helps us see how different factors impact a company's income. Remember, sales revenue is a key indicator of business performance and growth. So, whether you're setting prices or aiming to increase sales volume, this formula helps you understand the connection between those elements and the overall income. Let's take a closer look at how revenue, costs, and profit are interconnected. When your revenue, or the money coming in, exceeds your costs, which are the expenses you pay out, the result is profit. And profit is really the key indicator of success for any business. Costs, of course, refer to all the expenses involved in running the business, whether it's salaries, materials, or other operational costs. It's important to understand that managing costs effectively can directly impact your profit. When costs are kept in check and revenue is growing, profit naturally follows. Conversely, if costs rise too much without a corresponding increase in revenue, profit can shrink or even turn negative. So the main takeaway here is that balancing revenue and costs is essential. If revenue stays higher than costs, you're in a profitable position. This relationship is fundamental because it underscores the importance of revenue growth and cost control in achieving overall success in any business. All right, let's look at some options when your business faces a cash crunch. One approach is to use your reserves. If you've set aside savings or emergency funds, this can be a smart way to keep things running without taking on debt. It's like having a financial safety net. Another option is to borrow money. This can provide quick access to cash when you need it most. Of course, borrowing comes with obligations, so it's important to weigh the terms and your ability to repay. And what if you're not making a profit right now? Well, no problem. Sometimes it's about strategic decisions and planning for the future. Not every financial setback is permanent, and with the right approach, you can navigate through these challenges. The key takeaway here is that there are multiple ways to handle financial shortfalls. Using reserves or borrowing are common strategies, but remember, even if profits are low or non-existent at the moment, persistence and smart planning can lead to recovery and growth. Let's take a moment to look at this slide. When it comes to pricing strategies, there's a simple but powerful concept at play. If you reduce the price of your product or service, what do you think happens? Exactly, it can attract more customers, increase your sales volume, and potentially boost your overall revenue. Now, on the flip side, raising the price can also lead to increased revenue, but it's more nuanced. It depends on how elastic your demand is, meaning how sensitive your customers are to price changes. If demand is inelastic, a higher price might not significantly decrease sales, resulting in higher revenue. The key takeaway here is that both reducing and raising prices are valid strategies to increase revenue, but the choice depends on your market, your customers, and your overall business goals. The goal is to find that optimal balance, where your pricing aligns with customer value and maximizes your revenue. This slide underscores the importance of understanding your pricing elasticity and being strategic about adjustments to impact your bottom line. Lowering prices can often be a strategic move to attract more customers, especially in a competitive market. When prices go down, it becomes easier to draw in buyers who might otherwise choose a competitor. However, it's important to recognize that not all products are influenced equally by price changes. For essential products, people tend to buy them regardless of whether prices go up or down, because they're necessary for daily life. This means that price flexibility is limited in such cases. On the other hand, when you have a sole supplier for a product, you might have more control over pricing. Since there are no competitors offering the same item, a sole supplier can raise prices without the fear of losing customers to competitors. But in most markets, factors like the presence of competitors significantly influence how prices are set. Understanding these factors, whether it's the necessity of the product, the level of competition, or the supplier's position, is crucial when considering how to adjust prices effectively. These elements shape the overall pricing strategy and help determine what's possible in different market scenarios. All right, let's wrap things up with a quick quiz to reinforce what we've discussed. So here's the question: how can a company increase revenue in a competitive market? Think about the strategies we've covered, like improving sales techniques, offering better value, or finding new customer segments. Next, we'll look at the formula for sales revenue. Remember, it's simply price times quantity. This is fundamental because understanding what drives revenue helps us identify where to focus our efforts. Then, for a bit of context, consider an example of production in the service industry. It could be a hotel providing a memorable guest experience or a consulting firm delivering expert advice, services that add value and attract repeat customers. And remember, this slide is all about connecting these ideas. Increasing revenue isn't just about one tactic. It's about understanding how these components work together to give your business a competitive edge.